Welcome to another sci-fi Cosmic Conquest story. The battle for Earth, last stand of humanity, fights Navis. Chapter 1: Humanity's Last Stand. Long ago, it was said that something happened before the time of Earth, and the Navis had to eliminate these lesser humans. I remember the day it all began, the day we realized this was more than just another skirmish. The sky over New York was a mix of fiery orange and black smoke. The Navi's forces, relentless and merciless, descended upon our cities with a ferocity we had never encountered. Their ships, dark and angular, cut through the atmosphere, leaving trails of destruction in their wake. Captain Jackson stood on the bridge of the battleship Mako, his piercing blue eyes scanning the tactical display. His chiseled features and the streaks of gray in his black hair were a testament to the battles he had seen and the lives he had saved. He was our rock, our unyielding leader. Brace for impact. All hands. Jackson's voice, deep and commanding, echoed through the ship. The crew moved with precision, each member knowing their role in this desperate fight. The ship shuddered as it took another hit, but the shields held for now. Meanwhile, down on the surface, Major Sarah Mitchell led her troops through the burning streets. Her short auburn hair was matted with sweat and soot, but her green eyes burned with determination. She was a fierce warrior, her petite frame belying the strength and resolve within. As she directed her squad, the sounds of energy weapons firing and buildings crumbling filled the air. "Keep moving. We can't let them advance any further." Mitchell's voice cut through the chaos, her troops responding with unwavering loyalty. Among was Lieutenant Marcus Reed, a young and eager soldier with a shock of blonde hair and a fearless grin. Despite the devastation around them, there was a spark of hope in his eyes, a belief that they could turn the tide. As the battle raged, we witnessed the best of humanity. Families gathered in makeshift shelters, sharing what little they had left. Strangers became allies, united by a common cause. The sounds of children crying and parents whispering reassurances were a stark contrast to the chaos outside. Major Samuel Hayes, our chief medical officer, worked tirelessly in the underground hospital. His tall, lean frame moved with practiced efficiency, his brown eyes filled with a mix of exhaustion and determination. Every life he saved was a victory, a defiance against the Navi's attempt to annihilate us. The hours turned into days, and the battle showed no signs of abating. But we fought on, driven by the knowledge that surrender was not an option. We had to protect our homes and our way of life. The stakes had never been higher, and the cost was unimaginable. But through it all, the human spirit endured, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. As the day wore on, the sound of distant explosions and the hum of alien ships filled the air. Our forces were scattered, fighting on multiple fronts. I remember standing beside Captain Jackson on the bridge, the tension palpable. He had a way of instilling calm, even in the duress of circumstances. "We need to hold the line at all costs," Jackson said, his voice unwavering. "If they break through our defenses here, they'll have a direct path to Central Command." His words were met with grim nods from the crew. We all knew what was at stake. The bridge was a hive of activity, with officers coordinating attacks, relaying orders, and managing the chaos. The tactical display flickered with the positions of our ships and the advancing enemy fleet. "Lieutenant Chen, please provide me with a status update on the ground forces," Jackson ordered. Lieutenant Mira Chen, our communications officer, was a petite woman with a sharp mind and an even sharper tongue. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her eyes were focused intently on her console. "Major Mitchell reports heavy resistance in Sector 12. They've managed to push the enemy back for now, but they're running low on ammunition," she replied. Jackson nodded, his expression grim. "Tell her to hold out. We'll send reinforcements as soon as we can." On the ground, Major Mitchell's situation was indeed dire. Her squad had taken up defensive positions in the ruins of what had once been a bustling marketplace. The air was thick with smoke, and the acrid smell of burning metal was nearly overpowering. She could feel the heat of nearby fires on her skin, even through her body armor. Lieutenant Reed, cover the left flank, Mitchell shouted over the din of battle. Sergeant Torres, keep those medics safe. Reed acted swiftly, firing his rifle in short bursts to provide cover. His precise movements and calculated shots maximized the damage. Despite the chaos, his face showed fierce determination. Sergeant Torres, a strong man with a grizzled beard, shielded the medics as they tended to the wounded. Each life saved was a small victory against the relentless Navi's onslaught. During the ongoing battle, it became evident that we were in for a long and strenuous fight. The Nafi's forces were relentless, with methodical and unyielding attacks. Nonetheless, we fought back with the unyielding determination to protect our home and way of life. Major Hayes worked miracles in the cramped underground hospital. The air was thick with the scent of antiseptic and blood, and his team of medics and nurses worked tirelessly. Though exhausted, they were unwavering in their resolve. "Doctor, we have another wave of casualties coming in," informed a nurse, her voice strained. Hayes nodded without hesitation. "Prepare the trauma bays. We're going to need all hands on deck for this." Despite the steady stream of wounded, Hayes remained unfaltering. His hands moved with practiced efficiency, constantly calculating the best course of action. Every life saved was a reminder of why they fought, a beacon of hope in the midst of the darkness. As night fell, the battle showed no signs of slowing down. The sky was illuminated by the glow of energy weapons and the occasional explosion. Captain Jackson stood on the bridge, his eyes scanning the horizon. He knew that the next few hours would be critical. "We'll prepare for a full assault," he ordered. "We can't let them gain any more ground." The crew responded with renewed determination. They understood the stakes and were ready to fight to the last. On the ground, Major Mitchell and her squad prepared for another wave of attacks. The air was heavy with anticipation, and the silence was almost deafening. "Stay sharp," Mitchell said, her voice steady. "We've held them off this long. We can do it again." Her words were met with determined nods. Despite the exhaustion and the losses, they were ready to keep fighting. They had no choice. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. As the Navi's forces began their next assault, the sounds of battle once again filled the air. Energy weapons crackled, explosions rocked the ground, and the cries of the wounded echoed through the streets. But through it all, the human spirit endured. Captain Jackson, Major Mitchell, Major Hayes, and the countless others who fought and sacrificed stood as a testament to the resilience and determination of our species. They were the last line of defense, the guardians of our future. And as the battle for Earth raged on, we knew that regardless of the cost, we would not retreat. We would fight to the end for our home, our families, and our future for humanity. Chapter 2: Navi's Threat Unleashed. The Navi's forces were unlike any enemy we had ever faced. Their technology was advanced beyond our understanding, their tactics ruthless and efficient. They moved with a precision that was almost mechanical, their dark, angular ships a stark contrast to our sleek, silver vessels. From space, the Earth looked like a war zone. Cities that once bustled with life were now smoldering ruins. The Navi's energy weapons are carved through buildings and defenses alike, leaving behind a trail of devastation. The air was thick with the acrid smell of burning metal and the cries of the wounded. Captain Jackson watched as another wave of enemy ships descended upon the planet. His jaw clenched, the muscles in his face tight with determination. "We need to draw their fire away from the civilian centers," he said, his voice a low growl. Redirect all available ships to Sector 7. On the ground, Major Mitchell's squad engaged the enemy in guerrilla warfare. They struck from the shadows, using the ruins of their once great city as cover. Mitchell's keen tactical mind was always one step ahead, her troops following her lead with unwavering trust. The Nafis' soldiers were relentless. Their armor, a dark, chitinous material, seemed impervious to our weapons. They communicated in guttural growls and clicks, a language that was as alien as their appearance. But despite their formidable nature, we fought back with everything we had. In the underground hospital, Major Hayes worked to save as many lives as possible. His hands moved with a surgeon's precision, his mind focused on the task at hand. The sounds of the battle above were a constant reminder of the stakes, but Hayes never faltered. Every life he saved was a defiance against the Navys' tyranny. The battle for Earth was a test of our resilience and ingenuity. We used every tactic and every piece of technology at our disposal. From makeshift EMP devices to high-tech drones, we fought with a determination that was uniquely human. And through it all, we held on to the hope that we could turn the tide, that we could protect our home from destruction. The Nafis' invaders were a nightmare come to life. Their ships, dark and foreboding, moved with a grace that belied their deadly intent. They seemed to glide effortlessly through the void, their angular designs sharp and menacing. As they descended upon Earth, the sky was filled with their ominous presence. From the bridge of the Mako, we watched in horror as the enemy fleet began its systematic assault. Energy beams lanced out from their ships, striking with pinpoint accuracy. The devastation was immediate and absolute. Buildings crumbled, streets were torn asunder, and lives were extinguished in an instant. "Captain, we're losing ground." Lieutenant Chen's voice was tense, her eyes wide with fear. Jackson's expression was grim. "Redirect all available firepower to the lead ships. We need to break their formation." The order was met with a flurry of activity. Cannons roared to life, and missiles streaked toward the enemy fleet. The sky was a chaotic dance of light and shadow, the sound of explosions a constant backdrop. On the ground, Major Mitchell and her squad were locked in a desperate struggle. The Nafis' soldiers were relentless, their dark armor seemingly impervious to our weapons. They moved with mechanical precision, and their every action was calculated to maximize destruction. Mitchell's green eyes blazed with determination as she directed her troops. "Keep up the pressure. We can't let them push us back." The sounds of energy weapons firing filled the air, the bright flashes illuminating the devastated landscape. Despite the overwhelming odds, Mitchell's squad fought with a ferocity that was awe-inspiring. Each member was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and their courage and determination were unwavering. Lieutenant Reed was in the thick of the fighting, his rifle a blur of motion as he took down enemy soldiers. His blonde hair was matted with sweat and grime, but his blue eyes shone with a fierce resolve. He moved with a grace that was almost poetic, his every action a testament to his skill and bravery. Major Hayes, meanwhile, was a beacon of hope in the underground hospital. The facility was a maze of makeshift wards and treatment areas, the wounded packed in as tightly as possible. Despite the chaos, Hayes worked with calm efficiency, his hands steady and his mind focused. "Doctor, we've got another critical case coming in," a nurse called out. Hayes nodded, his expression determined. "Prep the ore. We need to move fast." The hours passed in a blur of activity. The constant stream of casualties was a grim reminder of the stakes, but Hayes never faltered. His dedication to saving lives was a testament to the best of humanity, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. As the battle raged on, the true nature of the Navi's threat became clear. They were not just invaders, they were exterminators. Their goal was not conquest, but annihilation. They moved with cold, calculated efficiency, their every action designed to eradicate our species. Captain Jackson watched in horror as another city fell to the enemy. The tactical display flickered with the positions of our forces, the lines slowly but surely being pushed back. "How are they doing this?" Lieutenant Chen asked, her voice filled with despair. Jackson's expression was grim. "They have technology we can't even begin to understand. But that doesn't mean we can't fight back." And fight back we did. Despite the overwhelming odds and the relentless nature of the enemy, we fought with everything we had. Our ships engaged in desperate dogfights. Our ground forces launched daring counterattacks, and our medics worked tirelessly to save as many lives as possible. The battle for Earth was a test of our resilience and ingenuity. We used every tactic and every piece of technology at our disposal, from makeshift EMP devices to high-tech drones. We fought with a determination that was uniquely human. And through it all, we held on to the hope that we could turn the tide, that we could protect our home from destruction. The Navi's forces were relentless, their attacks methodical and unyielding. But we fought back with everything we had, driven by a fierce determination to protect our home and our way of life. And in the darkest of times, it was our unity, our resilience, and our indomitable spirit that saw us through. Chapter 3: Heroes of the Battle. In the midst of chaos and devastation, heroes emerged. They were ordinary men and women who rose to extraordinary heights in the face of unimaginable odds. Captain Jackson was our leader. His strategic brilliance and unwavering courage inspired us all. But he was not alone. The Phoenix Squad, a group of elite soldiers from diverse backgrounds, became legends in their own right. They were a diverse group, with each member bringing their unique skills and perspectives to the fight. United by a common cause, they stood as a symbol of humanity's strength and unity. Lieutenant Marcus Reed, with his fearless grin and shock of blonde hair, was always at the front lines. His bravery was infectious, his spirit unbreakable. He led daring missions behind enemy lines, his quick thinking and yielding determination turning the tide of many skirmishes. Then there was Major Samuel Hayes, whose tireless efforts in the underground hospital saved countless lives. His brown eyes, once filled with exhaustion, now burned with a steely resolve. He was a beacon of hope, his presence a reminder that even in the darkest times, humanity's compassion and resilience shone through. As the battle raged on, we witnessed countless acts of heroism. From daring rescue missions to last-ditch efforts to disable enemy weapons, our heroes to the challenge. Their stories inspired us all, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. In the end, it was not just the soldiers who were heroes. It was the families who held on to hope, the medics who worked tirelessly to save lives, the engineers who devised new ways to fight back. Together we stood as one, united by our determination to protect our home and our way of life. The stories of courage and sacrifice from heroes like Captain Jackson, Major Sarah Mitchell, Major Samuel Hayes, and the Phoenix Squad became legendary and passed down through generations. Our triumph in the grueling battle for Earth forever honored the memory of those who fought and sacrificed. The memories of our heroes will never fade. Earth was not just a planet anymore, it was a testament to humanity's indomitable spirit, a symbol of hope and resilience for the future. This epic tale of humanity's last stand against the Navi's forces stands as a testament to the power of courage, resilience, and unity. As we gaze at the stars, we are reminded of the unwavering spirit that defines us as a species, and the enduring legacy of those who dared to fight for our future. The battle for Earth has been won, but the deep and lasting scars it left behind serve as a reminder of the sacrifices made by those who fought. The memories of Captain Jackson, Major Sarah Mitchell, Major Samuel Hayes. We remember those who fought and sacrificed, their names and stories etched in our hearts and our history. They were the guardians of our future and the heroes of our past, and their legacy will live on in the hearts and minds of humanity for generations to come. This epic tale of humanity's last stand against the Na'vi forces is a testament to the power of courage, resilience, and unity. As we look to the stars, we are reminded of the indomitable spirit that defines us as a species and the enduring legacy of those who dared to fight for our future. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you.